There's also a blow in the exhaust, so if we go around to the back we'll hear the blow in the exhaust. Blow in the exhaust can be heard there. Yeah, you can hear it. I'll just give it a quick rev and you can hear the blow in the exhaust. Stay back from the fuse. Nasty little blow in the exhaust. We're going to release these two bolts here, okay? 1, 2 on the other side to release this exhaust, okay? So we're going to release them too. I'm going to put some penetrant spray on them now. We're going to release them, and then down the car. You probably won't be able to get down the car, but down the car there's a plate to be removed. I'll take a picture of that in a second, and then the other end of the pipe, okay? Right. So this plate under the car has to come off, and it looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 bolts here that have to come out, and then these 2 rusty ones here, 1, 2 under the exhaust, that'll have to be separated too. That class there will have to be separated. Remove this plate with its 6 bolts to lower this down, and we've removed the back box hanger. So this is what hangs the exhaust back box to the car. We took that off. There was 2 bolts up there, and that allowed the exhaust to drop down enough to get to this bolt, which was tucked up inside the exhaust tunnel, the tunnel up here, which I couldn't get to before. So now I can get to it. So once we get this off, that should be the last bolt holding the exhaust on. Coming off fine, alright? Right, there you go. So that is the exhaust off, alright? So we're going to take it out now. So that's what we're contending with. I think that is new exhaust, basically, a new exhaust system, not just a back box, because it's the whole system right the way down to the exhaust manifold. So yeah, it's going to be expensive, I'd say, but I'm not sure I can weld that up. Let's have a look at it. Oh, don't sound good. Yeah, see what we got. The rest of the exhaust looks in reasonable condition, but that has come away nearly the whole way around. Nearly the whole way around, that's off. And I think even if I were to patch it up, it's in such bad condition, I don't think I could repair it. I really don't. It might be worth a go. I might give it. Oh, it's gone again there too. See on the pipe. So the pipe is holed there, and then it's completely come out of the box there. Yeah. No. I think that's shot. Take off all the old exhaust gun that somebody's repaired it with badly. I think that's shot. The annoying thing is probably if you had a pipe from about here on in, it'd be fine, just the back box. If you could weld just the back box, you'd be fine, but I'm not sure if you can. Yeah, that's a disaster. That's really, really bad. Okay, the hole's fairly bad in this exhaust, so I'm going to clean it up and try and do a little bit of welding on it. I'm going to use the one of these first, and then I'll probably use a flap disc on it after that. Wear goggles and safety precautions, of course. So a bit of rubbing down with the angle grinder, and this is what we've got. To be honest, it's hideously holed, and should probably be getting scrapped, but that's not what this is about. It's a project about repairing and trying to get it working again, putting it back on the road, seeing we can get another few months or few years life out of the part. So I'm going to try welding this up. So I'm welding a pretty serious hole in both sides of the exhaust and pipe, and we'll see how it goes. First thing I did was make up a template, a cardboard template, so I can transfer that onto metal of what fits around there. So made up a cardboard template. Well, this is the welding equipment that I'm using. It is a R-Weld or R-Tech inverter MiG 180. Works fine in the 3-pin plug. Best welder I've ever had, very, very good. Using mixed carbon dioxide and argon gas there from Hobbyweld. Does the job very well. So now I'm going to transfer my pattern to the metal and cut it out. A little bit here, I have 2 bits of metal, one clamp there and one held there. I'm going to try and weld these on, make a few tack welds to begin with, and then seam weld. Afterwards, and try and patch up this bit of the hole. So this is the weld, or this is the fix of the exhaust about halfway through. I fashioned some metal to it, and I've sort of attacked little spots first, and then I came along and sort of seam welded afterwards. Now there's still big old holes there that need patching up. I'm not going to do them just yet. I want to do the other side, and then I'll come back to those bigger holes. And I've got maybe bits of metal to go in there, tidy it up a little bit, grind it down, and then make the welds a bit better. I'm using a flat disc to grind it down. The other side still untouched. So the other side, I've tidied it up with a flap wheel just to give me some bare metal to weld to. And now I'm going to cut a template with cardboard. Let me have a look. This one I was at earlier. So something like that. Cut a template with cardboard, then cut that out of some bare metal, sheet metal. It's metal that's from an old Volvo bonnet, and then try and weld that in, and then I think I'll tidy it all up, and then I'll go around and weld up all the little gaps and holes, and then I'll tidy it all up again with the flap wheel. Yeah, so that's what I've cut myself. That's the cardboard template, and this is going to be the piece of metal that I weld in there. I'm just going to tidy up the edges with a flat wheel, so the weld takes. So I'm going to do that now, and I'll show you when it's all ground down. Okay, so that's the metal patch held in there over the hole in the exhaust. So I'm going to try and tack weld this on now, and then follow up with more sort of seam welding afterwards. Okay, so this is where I'm at the moment. This is the repair so far. Oop. Now, that's the welding, tidied up with a flat disc. It's not great. Anyone who can weld will have plenty of criticising to say, but it's going to hopefully do the job. I'll fill in the gaps with some heat resistant metal filler. So it's next day now, and this is what it looks like at the moment. So it's been welded, and I've put in some these metal repair pastes. The grey one is this Unibond metal repair for good, meant to be heat resistant, and the white one is this stuff I got from Aldi or Lidl, this Yoo-Hoo epoxy adhesive 2-part, one of these ones where you have something on the outside, something on the inside. It's like a tube, and then you scrunch them together, you rub them together. Essentially, these back boxes don't get that hot, and all I'm looking to do is just cover the pinhole the welding might have left. So, you know, it is metal has been replaced with metal. It's just really covering the pinholes now. I might give these a quick rub down, just to make them not look so bloody awful, and then I'll have a look and see if there's any pinholes left. If there's any pinholes left, I might stick a little bit of
glass fibre or something in there, because as I said, the back boxes don't get that hot. The other thing I've done is I've just treated the rust with I think it's Hammerite crust. It's a little sort of tube with a brush in it, a little container with a brush in it, and I just brushed on the very worst of the rust, where it looks like it might just break through again at some point. There's no point going crazy on this exhaust because it's obviously shite, and it's obviously not good, and will probably rust through and need replacing at some point in the future anyway. But this is just to get me through an NCT. So yeah, and there's some crust there too. So I will rub all of this down and then see what it looks like afterwards, and I'll show you what it looks like afterwards. Right, so I'm going to give it a go with a little bit of glass fibre, just to get the tiny pinholes that still exist in this. So there's nothing too bad, it's certainly going to be a million times better than what it was. So just a bit of glass fibre, and we'll see what that looks like after. I'm going to try and use the golf ball to a P sizing. As I was saying, the main thing is that the exhaust has got all of the holes are completely covered in new metal and welded in, seam welded in, so it is very strong. And I'm just really trying to catch the pinholes that the weld couldn't get. If there are any pinholes, I don't even know what pinholes there might be, but the exhaust doesn't get too hot, so I'm not overly worried. I'm not overly worried that that'll burn off or anything. It doesn't get. Put fiberglass. There's a little pinhole here by the exhaust exit, so I put fiberglass on that, and then this has the heat resistant metal putty and the other heat resistant putty, and then I've just put a thin layer of fiberglass on top to get the pinholes. So it's all welded behind there. So it's all solid metal, seam welded, heat resistant metal putty, and then a layer of fiberglass over the top just to get any pinholes that are there. So I'm just going to give that a rub down now, and then I'll show you it after it's rubbed down. This is what it looks like with a bit of glass fibre on it. That's the repair area on that side. Yeah, you happy enough? Yeah?
Yeah.
And that's the repair area on that side. So that's the repair sort of sprayed up and hopefully corrosion protected. That's a high temperature. That's a high temperature galvanized spray. So offer it some protection. It's really just to sort of protect the work that I've done. Okay, the exhaust underplate bashed out as straight as I can get it. Going to paint it up now and put it back on. I'll show you pictures when it's painted up. Okay. This is the exhaust. Go back on the car with the bashed out and painted panel there. It's not the prettiest, but it should last longer than the car. Same with the exhaust, not the prettiest mend, but it should get me through an NCT and last for the next couple of years. And the strap to hold the exhaust on. So I'm going to get under the car now and put these back. So this is where it meets the catalytic converter. I've just bolted it up loosely there, plenty of copper grease, copper slip, just to make sure those bolts are easy enough to get off. That's the plate, just hanging loose there for the minute until I bash it into place and put Hammerite on it, and I'm just going to bolt it up in a second. And I've got the exhaust silencer box at the end there, just held up on a jack. I'm just going to jack it up now. It just attaches to that strap, rusty bit strap you can see hanging down there. I'm just going to put the strap on now, and then we'll hold the middle plate that's down there. It's bolted up loosely there at the catalytic converter part, and it's only bolted up loosely so I can get this plate on. Right, so then you can see the two bolts there and there. right? They're covered in copper grease. And then this plate, which I had on upside down earlier, I didn't realise, that's got 2 little bolts to hold it to the rubbers. The rubbers go through the holes here and here, and then 2 little bolts 10mm, and then 6 10mm around the edges there, again covered in copper grease. So I only got 3 of them in. I'll do the other 3 now in a second. And then the exhaust is held up at the back just loosely with the band that goes around it. It's not in the final position yet, so I'm going to do everything loosely until it's in its final position. There are 2 13mm bolts here on the band, and you'll need something to hold the exhaust up, a friend or a jack or something, just to hold the exhaust up until it's in position. And then do everything loosely, get the exhaust loosely before you clamp the ones at the downpipe on first. Right, so that's the repaired exhaust running, so the hole just there, a little hole just there, that's pretty covered up. So that seems to be holding up okay now. The exhaust obviously does get hot, but it doesn't get too hot. Yeah. You know, that run for about half an hour, 45 minutes last night. It's run for about 10 minutes again today. I can feel the heat coming off it with my face. But, you know, it seems to be holding up okay so far. We'll see. Alright, take it for a drive. So, just to say that the exhaust was fine and that it did pass the NCT a couple of days later, and the emissions were all fine as well there. Now, if we come down to the emissions, they were all good. So yeah, it did the job.